a common mistake I think people think when I train rapport building is they look at rapport building as a moment in time or a stage. I mean, it is a stage, but the truth is, like what John said, is you're always building or taking away from things like rapport, the amount of the connection they have with you, the trust they have, and the feeling that you're an expert, right? That's not something that just is bottled up in one section and then we get it done and then move on. It's a living, breathing thing that we continue to add to or take away. But the reason we make this a stage is because it is very important. People still buy from people they like and trust, okay? We have to establish some likability in the beginning. We don't, again, I always differentiate this because we don't need to do a full course, 10-minute, like, let me know everything about your personal history stuff. That's not required. But it is required, I think, to get them comfortable with you. Rapport building is one of the most, it is the most subjective part of the presentation, because it's not objective in the sense that if you just read the script, you'll accomplish what we're looking to do. You have to think on your feet and react to how the client responds. Now, for me personally, I think this is at minimum a 4 to 4.5. And the reason why is because the client, like Tunk said, laughed. For me, one of the metrics I use in determining if I've built enough rapport with them is, did the client laugh? How do they sound? Do they sound at ease with me? Do they sound comfortable? If they sound that way, then we're golden. Let's go. Let's move. But if they don't, then I need to rely on that list, the scripting, and then go through a couple more questions till I feel like they're at ease and they're comfortable with me. It may only take you a minute or two to establish likability, okay? And that's pretty much what everybody does. First reaction to you is the lasting reaction. So you got to establish yourself very quickly, the kind of person that you are, and make sure that you've built that kind of rapport that we're looking for. Okay. So I'll just point it out here again, since we've got the new scripting here. I'm going to pull up your rapport building section just to show you what I'm talking about, in case you haven't seen the new script. By the way, if you're late, we got a new script. Check out the training site for it. Again, best thing you do, most of you guys have a favorite hobby on your leads. Use that. Talk about the hobby. You may only talk about the hobby. Okay. If that goes nowhere, like their favorite hobby is watching TV, but it could go somewhere. What's your favorite show? How long have you been watching it for? Blah, blah, blah. These are a list of questions you can also ask. Like, so I see you live down in, you're outside of Washington. How far are you from Seattle? What's it like living there these days? How's the weather? Right. Again, it's small talk, but it gets people comfortable and relaxed with you. Are you retired? Are you still working? Is retirement all it's cracked up to be? That's another thing. So that's the idea, guys. Does that make sense? We just want to say enough to get them comfortable with us. And I used to suggest 5 to 10 minutes was tops. 5 minutes is absolute tops. It shouldn't take more than a minute or two just to get them comfortable with you. So this sounds like a stage that Chris kind of sort of missed. And this is important. Here's why this is important. All right. If you go back and listen to this call, did you guys catch on what she said about the information she requested? Did y'all catch that, Chris or anybody else? What did she say?
Yes, the sixth person that she spoke to, or she spoke to 6 people, something like that.
So these are leads that are organic. Okay, these are a bit different than what you're working. Same people. People are requesting information online, but they're not just going to my website and saying, "Oh, this is the Holy Grail." Nobody does that anymore. They go and check 2 to 6, usually just a handful, but definitely not one site to request a quote. So you're in direct competition with a lot of other people. And the same thing happens with you guys who are doing telemarketed or Facebook leads, especially Facebook. Because when somebody clicks on an ad, Mark Zuckerberg shows that ad to a similar ad to that same person, because somebody who has a behavioral capacity to click on an ad is going to click on another ad. And what other ad would you click on other than the one that you have shown an interest in, right? So what's my point? The point is that you have to understand that there is always competition. There's always some other agent that could get to your client before you could. And it's not that these leads are shared. They're not. They're exclusive. But the nature and how they're generated is, in the state of the business as it is these days, is there's always another guy coming for your prospect. And so you got to move fast, A, and B, you got to say things to differentiate yourself. This is why the introduction is so critical and an important part of the presentation. You have to formally introduce yourself from early on about who you are, why you're calling, and what makes you different. Okay. You cannot trust that, they'll just assume that you're some great guy or gal. You have to tell them what makes you different, why they should work with you in so many ways, and kind of lay out an agenda of what you're going to do to help them out. Okay. So one thing I would suggest, Chris, and anybody else, is when you're reviewing these calls, once you've established rapport, go right into the rapport build or right into the introductory section. So script wise, you want to remember this script, rehearse it word for word, and it's going to look something like this. So now that I know a little bit more about you, let me tell you about who I am and what it is that I do. So Mrs. Jones, my name is David Duford. I am an independent licensed life insurance agent in Tennessee. And I'm also, in this case, I would say, Chris, I'm also licensed in Washington, amongst a lot of other states as well. I've been in this business since 2011, and I specialize in helping people 50 and older get affordable life insurance to cover things like final expenses, burial, and cremation costs. The reason my clients do business with me is because I'm what's known as a broker. Do you know what that is? Yeah. Basically not married to one company like. Instead, I have access to all the companies. I shop to get them not only the best price, but the best value of coverage. Basically, I get clients like you the best bang for their buck. So this statement right here tells them what you're all about. It differentiates you. And guys, look, there are agents who don't do that. We forget that, our clients aren't insurance professionals. They don't understand that, the difference between one agent to the next. They just think an insurance agent's an insurance agent. They don't have the knowledge base that we do. So what we have to do is provide them the differentiation. We have to mold their thinking so they understand that we're professionals and we're experts in the line of work that we do. And if we don't do that, then how are we any different than the other six that Chris, that this person contacted in addition to me? How am I going to stand a chance? Why would they possibly not want to shop us if we haven't given them a reason for us not to shop them? Does that make sense? So these are some things that we want to make sure we absolutely make clear. And if we don't, we're a commodity. Okay. Commodity is, like wheat, corn, silver. There's no difference between, one bushel versus the next bushel of corn or wheat, right? And we don't want to be that way. We want to tell our clients and with facts and logic about how we're different and better, because that's what it's going to take to get them closed. Okay.